Good evening. You're watching Thursday's edition of News Plus right here on ZTN Prime. My name is Wadzanai Sansole and these are your headlines. Zimbabwe-Mozambique elevate relations to bi-national commission. Vice President Chiwenga arrives in South Africa for G20 summit. Harare records over 500 cases of hand, foot and mouth disease. And in sport, Warriors coach Marinika lays out AFCON plan. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. We now take a closer look at the stories making the headlines. And we start with President Mnangagwa, who is expected to arrive in Maputo on Friday, where Zimbabwe and Mozambique are set to elevate their relations to the bi-national commission level, including in agriculture. This comes as Zimbabwe also elevated its relations with Zambia to a bi-national commission, BNC, last week. Now, a BNC is a formal agreement between two countries with the aim of strengthening and deepening bilateral relations through structured cooperation on shared interests. And Zimbabwe's ambassador to Mozambique, Dr. Victor Matema-Danda, spoke to our correspondent Africa Moyo earlier today.
But I know that all other ambassadors that were here before me were also interested in that, but it was just not moving. And to tell you the truth, we are excited that we've been able finally to put this relationship, agriculture, food security, Mozambique is not as food secure as we would want, considering the land, considering also the water that they have. So we are having to sign in MOU on that to make sure that we help each other on the production side.
Meanwhile, Vice President Dr. Constantino Chiwenga has arrived in South Africa to lead Zimbabwe's delegation at this year's G20 summit, where the world's most established economies will gather to chart a sustainable and inclusive economic order. He was welcomed by South Africa's Deputy Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Thandi Moraka. Now, despite Zimbabwe not being a member of the bloc, Vice President Chiwenga's participation positions the country to tap into discussions shaping a sustainable and inclusive international economic order and to pitch for investment and partnerships with the world's most influential economies. The G20 comprises of 19 countries and the European Union, and in 2023 was formally incorporated the African Union, bringing together nations that collectively account for 85% of global gross domestic product, 75% of international trade, and 2/3 of the world's population. Zimbabwe is participating at the invitation of South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, who holds the G20 presidency this year.
Which is the Republic of South Africa. His Excellency the President was invited by his brother, President Cyril Ramaphosa, since South Africa is the host. So we are coming here as an invitee. We are not members of the G20. But is invited, but we are taking advantage of our invitation to speak to this group, which controls 85% of the world GDP and 75% of the world trade. So this is the most critical grouping of these leaders, and you might want also to know that it is the whole world, because they constitute about 2/3 of the world's population. So we are quite happy to be here.
Travelers with an approximate of $900 million recorded in 2025 as compared to the same period last year. And this was revealed during a Hospitality Association of Zimbabwe Leadership Summit. We get more in the following report.
The summit was running under the theme Future-Proofing Tourism in Zimbabwe, with the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Dr. Takaruza Munyanyiwa, who was representing Minister Barbara Rodzi, noting that international arrivals from January to September 2025 have increased by 9% compared to the same period in 2024. He emphasized that tourism has become the foremost contributor to the growth of the gross domestic product ahead of mining and agriculture. The summit follows the government's decision to reduce tourism fees by up to 50%, including levies and permits, a move aimed to boost competitiveness and lowering operational costs.
Noteworthy, this year international arrivals from January to September 2025 have grown by 9% as compared to the same period in 2024. The major contributors to growth in arrivals were from the Americas, Africa, and Asia. Domestic travel during this period rose by 20.9%, and the sector has generated approximately $922 million in 2025 so far, reflecting a 10% increase from $839 million recorded in 2024 during the same period. These are encouraging signs that our recovery is gaining positive traction, and yes, we continue to work diligently to reshape international perceptions, but future proofing requires more than recovery and it demands transformation.
In 2024, the industry stood firm amid global uncertainty, welcoming over 1.6 million visitors, generating $1.2 billion in receipts, and attracting $190 million in new investments. The country's improved visibility has been boosted by international endorsements, with Forbes magazine naming Zimbabwe the go-to tourist destination of 2025, citing its wild terrain, rich heritage, and unrivaled hospitality. During the summit, Emma Kativ, president of Hospitality Association of Zimbabwe, stated that the event aimed at ensuring the role of tourism in the economy and the connection with cultural identity.
This summit provides a unique opportunity for us to engage in meaningful discussions, share insights, and collaborate on strategies that will enhance our sector's resilience. We are here to explore on how we can leverage on our strengths, address our weaknesses, and seize new opportunities in the tourism landscape.
Exhibitors who were showcasing locally manufactured products expressed the confidence that Zimbabwe is on the right track to attract more international recognition.
Within the tourism industry, we're trying to push what we call buy local. Buy local gives everyone who experiences the tourism industry, even the foreigners that are flying in, to experience the uniqueness of our Zimbabwean products. And such an opportunity provides platforms for people to come in and understand what products we're manufacturing, understand how they contribute to the value chain, and how important they are overall in contributing to the economy, even the tourism economy as well.
Impact of believing in local products. I believe when you believe in our local products, first and foremost, it helps us to create employment because we also get the chance to produce more. The more you buy, the more we produce. So it's a win-win for everybody, the manufacturing company and the people at large.
Zimbabwe this year unveiled a bold tourism blueprint, setting an ambitious $5 billion earnings target by 2030, up from the $1.2 billion recorded last year. The blueprint also targets a $10 billion tourism industry by 2030. Latho Nyangu for ZN Prime in Harare.
We now shift our focus to Harare, which has recorded 501 cases of hand, foot and mouth disease, with most cases in Mavuku, in Mbare, Budiriro and Waterfalls. Now, in a statement, the city of Harare urged the public about the viral infection that is infecting children, mainly under the ages of 10. And the infection is causing blisters on the mouth, on the hands and feet, and it may also present a sore throat. Now, the City of Harare Health Department said the public should avoid direct contact with those that are showing symptoms, as it is a highly contagious disease. Now, we are joined on the line by the City of Harare City Council epidemiologist, Dr. Michael Vere, to give us an insight on the situation. Dr. Vere, thank you so much for joining us on News Plus. Can you give us an update on this outbreak that's so concerning?
Yes, indeed, we've been recording hand, foot, and mouth disease cases throughout the city of Harare. These children, usually those under the age of 10, presenting with the blisters on the hands, foot, and around the lips and the inside their oral cavity. So far we have recorded as at the 20th of November 2025, we have recorded 575 cases of hand, foot, and mouth. Most of the cases apparently are being reported from high-density suburbs, and a significant proportion has been reported from Mavuku, where more than 100, Mavuku Tafara, where more than 100 cases have been recorded. However, it's not the only area that is affected. Or most of the high-density suburbs, Budiriro, Mbare, Glenview, Kuadzana, Mfakose, waterfalls as well. Even some of the medium density areas like Breside have also reported cases. So it means generally the disease has spread throughout the city. However, the fortunate thing that is that this disease is not it has got a very low case, what we call case fatality rate, and it has got low complications as well.
So, Dr. Vere, what advice can you give to the public to avoid further spread? And are there any vaccines at the moment? As of today, according to our statistics, most of these children are under the age of 5 years. That is around 90% of them are under the age of 5 years. It is important also to note how we can prevent getting the disease. So this disease is spread through droplet infection or direct contact. So droplet infection is, so it means if somebody coughs or sneezes whilst they're within a meter from somebody who is not infected, they might also they might also get the disease. Unfortunately, there is no vaccine currently available to vaccinate against this disease. So prevention is better than cure. Rarely do we have complications or fatalities. The few complications are secondary bacterial infections to the blisters, to the soles, and also even some might have a sore throat with secondary bacterial infection. Thank you, Dr. Vere, for giving us more insight about this disease. Now, moving on, Finance Minister Professor Mthuli Ncube is setting his sights on a $9 billion revenue collection from the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority in 2026. Now, a 25% increase over this year's projected $7.2 billion. And the Treasury Chief says he's confident ZIMRA will deliver, banking on a rebased economy, stronger tax compliance, and collaboration with local councils to widen the tax net as growth carries into 2026. Now, our business correspondent Melissa Chatikobo gives us more.
The year 2025 has brought a measure of relief for Zimbabwe. Increased tobacco earnings, gold prices strengthening, and inflation cooling. The recent rebasing of the economy and a growth outlook revised to 6.6% have reinforced optimism, with authorities confident that the momentum will carry through into 2026. Against that backdrop, the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority is expected to ramp up its collections to reach $9 billion in 2026.
From this GDP, clearly we ought to be able to raise $9 billion easily in 2026 to finance our development. Part of it involves make sure we go after those sectors that are not immediately visible to ZIMRA. It's not, in Treasury we hate the way the informal sector. We prefer small businesses.
Professor Ncube says the collaboration between ZIMRA and local authorities will be key to improving compliance.
You find that some of these small businesses are informal to ZIMRA, but formal to city why? Because for them to trade, they need some kind of vendor license. Right? Because my police, they're always going after them, taking away their metal. So you need your license. It's cheaper for you to pay for the license than to bribe a policeman every day.
The government has been easing the cost of doing business, reviewing and lowering business licenses and taxes. An incentive for the informal sector to formalize, something the Treasury has been eyeing for years as a potential tax base. According to market watchers, the formalization is likely to encourage more small traders to enter the tax net, boosting revenue predictability for next year.
To be positive, considering that firstly, when you ease the tax burden on formally registered players in the country, it also serves as an incentive for companies that are not formally registered to then register and then be part of the contributors to tax revenues.
With the bigger fiscal space in sight, the Ministry of Health is among departments eyeing a larger allocation.
My expectation is to see an increment in the allocation. Firstly, because there have been some funds that have been cut from our partners, so we expect Treasury to cover up for those funds that have been cut. So I'm not expecting anything less.
As Treasury tightens its focus on domestic resource mobilization, authorities say a stronger tax system and steady economic growth will be key to funding critical national programs. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chatkubo.
We are now joined live by Tapiwa Kusereka, an economic analyst who is going to give us insights on this subject. Tapiwa, thank you for joining us. How important are the allocations to the country's health services against the pretext of several priorities for Treasury?
Thank you so much for having me today. As we approach the 2026 national budget, the key message is that Zimbabwe should expect a protect and target approach to social service. I saw the budget strategy paper released in July, signed by Minister of Finance, confirms that health, education and social protection remains top priorities in NDS 2 2026 to 2030. But it will operate in a very tight fiscal space and a deficit target of around 3% or below of GDP. So I believe the main focus for 2026 is on protecting core programs and improving efficiency and expanding maybe digital systems. But I don't project any major change in terms of investment in new expansion or in new projects. But my sentiments on health, I expect the modest but strategic investment, including upgrading hospitals and clinics, improving maybe medicine supply chain, strengthening staffing, maybe initial steps towards the national health insurance.
Thank you very much, Tapiwa, and have a good evening. Now, shortly after the break, we'll give you a story on more than 2,000 businesses that have been fined for selling counterfeit goods.
Welcome wherever you are. And Mamouche, room to shoot. He well and truly did. It's an opportunity. What a shot to Sono! Tarkowski! Scott's got to be careful. Bukayo Saka! But it's Salah, and that one delivers!
Never miss a play, home or away. Stream all Premier League games live on Showmax.
Live from Harare, this is News Plus with me, Wadzanai Sansole. Now, authorities have advised farmers against buying inputs from unregistered shops to avoid falling prey and ending up buying fake seeds. The call comes after the arrest of a dealer who has been manufacturing fake seeds targeting farmers in Sadza, that's Zimbabwe's Mashonaland East province. We give you more in the following report.
Imagine investing your hard-earned money in seeds that promise a bountiful harvest, only to be left with withered crops and financial ruin. This is the harsh reality facing farmers who are falling prey of dealers selling fake seeds as the cropping season gathers momentum. In a recent incident, a 43-year-old man from Sata area in Mashonaland East Province, Roden Kasadzu, has been arrested for producing fake seeds. Over 500 kilograms of seeds were recovered by police from his premises. To deal with the situation, which is also a threat to food security, authorities are on high alert, urging farmers to opt for reputable dealers.
Police recovered more than 500 kgs of counterfeit maize seed, plastic packaging material, and other manufacturing equipment. During this farming season, cases of counterfeit products such as fertilizers, agricultural chemicals, and maize seeds are on the increase. Farmers should be wary and make sure that they buy their seed from reputable dealers.
Seed manufacturers have also joined the call, challenging stakeholders to work together in exposing bogus dealers. They believe that buying from registered dealers gives farmers an option to make a follow-up where they have issues with the product.
Varimi ndimi vanhu vakatagetwa nemunhu wese. Nguva ino inguva yakatakatarisa nemafertilizer nembeu. Saka tiri kuti nguva ino varimi ngwarirai masemende, mafertilizer, mbeu nezvimwe mamaproduct ese anouya kwamuri. Ndimi the end user, ndimi kwekupedzisira, ndimi munoprotectwa nehurumende, ndimi munoprotectwa nemapurisa.
The Ministry Seed Inspectorate is conducting spot checks on various agro-dealer premises to monitor compliance across the country. The 10-week program started on 6 October and is set to end in December. The head of Seed Services Institute, Edmond Tetwa, said that the country has a robust regulatory framework aimed at combating counterfeit seeds on the market.
The ministry's Seed Inspectorate is conducting spot checks on various agro-dealer premises to monitor compliance to the specifications of the Seed Act Chapter 1913, as well as its supporting statutory instruments. This is a 10 weeks operation covering the peak selling season for agro inputs, and it is targeting all cities, towns, as well as selected business centers across the country.
Counterfeit seeds threaten food security by causing crop failure, reducing yields, and creating financial losses for farmers due to poor germination and weak plant development. For ZTM Prime, I am Mashudu Mambo in Harare.
Now, the crisis of counterfeit goods has emerged as a major regional concern, with consumer protection bodies from Zimbabwe, from South Africa, and Zambia calling for stronger multinational cooperation to contain it. This was highlighted at the annual Consumer Rights Conference in Bulawayo, where delegates warned that fake products are flooding Southern African markets now at unprecedented levels.
Zimbabwe has already prosecuted nearly 2,000 businesses since January for selling counterfeit food, beverages, medicines, vehicle parts, and electronic gadgets. Authorities say many of these products enter the region through sophisticated illicit supply chains before being repackaged with fake labels. These goods often end up in low-income neighborhoods, rural communities, and among vulnerable groups such as children and persons with disabilities. Consumer Protection Commission Board Chairperson Respina Zinyanduko said the scale of the problem demands coordinated regional action, as no country can tackle the crisis in isolation.
They are really giving us a very big challenge. The biggest challenge is that when they come to the market, obviously they will be cheaper than the actual product. So our farmers usually they go for cheap products, which means they will opt to go for these counterfeit or fake seed. But what we discovered is that if they'll be going for cheap things, but cheap things are expensive in the long run, then you discover that probably we lose quite a lot of sales because of these counterfeits.
Acting Commissioner of the National Consumer Commission of South Africa, Hadin Rachisusu, stressed the need for improved cross-border intelligence sharing and harmonized enforcement systems to stop the movement of counterfeit goods between countries.
SADC's commitment gained momentum with the 2009 SADC Declaration on Regional Cooperation in Competition and Consumer Policies. adopted by our heads of state under Article 25 of the SADC Protocol. The declaration recognizes that although consumer protection laws are national, harm is often cross-border.
Zambia's Director of Consumer Protection added that counterfeit products severely destabilize national economies, urging SADC member states to intensify surveillance, align their policies, and invest in public education to protect consumers.
And every day we enter into transactions. So the transactions are happening here in Bulawayo, but they are also happening in a village somewhere, right? And that consumer also in the village needs protection.
Speakers also referenced the United Nations guidelines on consumer protection, which emphasize access to safe products, accurate information, and effective avenues for redress. They said these global standards should guide how the region structures its joint efforts. Representing the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Director of Commerce Netai Makade underscored the importance of the Consumer Protection Act in Zimbabwe's fight against counterfeits. She urged manufacturers and retailers to uphold strict product quality standards and ensure safety across the supply chain.
As the ministry, we are alive to the challenges being faced by consumers and our industry. It is against the continued shortchanging of consumers that the ministry spearheaded the enactment of the Consumer Protection Act, Chapter 1444.
As counterfeit goods continue to burden economies and expose consumers to significant risks, regional bodies insist that only collective, well-coordinated action will cap the growing threat.
As counterfeiting and smuggling syndicates become more complex and sophisticated, stakeholders have called for joint operations to cap this. This was said at the annual Consumer Rights Conference underway in Bulawayo, where calls were made for joint operations, especially international SADC cooperation, to protect the consumer. Calls were also made to protect vulnerable communities, especially in rural areas, as well as people with disabilities and children. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
Now, the Zimbabwe National Army says its training programs are now focused on producing highly trained and versatile troop commanders who will be able to respond to modern operational demands. And this comes as 143 military engineers have graduated from the Zimbabwe School of Military Engineering under 3 specialist courses. That's the Young Officers Program, Combat Engineering Class 2 and Class 3. And presiding over the ceremony, Brigadier General George Chicha said the courses are aimed at building discipline, technical competence and adaptability among officers, all of which are key ingredients for effective command.
The knowledge inculcated in you makes you versatile troop commanders, provided you put into practice what you have been taught in this institution. The Engineer Young Officers course started with 12 students drawn from various formations, and I'm informed that 11 of you are graduating today after one student was retained for his unit for indiscipline.
You're watching News Plus.
Santa, all I want this holiday
is special family time.
Whenever you come around family, you can find love.
To go on an adventure.
Tickets to every game.
Some giggles.
And a puppy.
Let's go!
This holiday, simply stay connected and get all you want on DSTV, your home of entertainment.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying tuned to News Plus. Now, on a sad note, the death of African Apostolic Church founder and leader, Archbishop Paul Mwaja, has been described as a loss to the country and the Christian community. Archbishop Mwaja died Thursday morning at the age of 107, and he is survived by 10 children, 4 girls and 6 boys. Now, his son, Dr. Masimba Mwaja, said the program for funeral proceedings will be announced in due course after coordination with other church members and relatives around the world.
Nyika yaraswa nemunhu anga ari munhu mukuru, munhu akabatsira vanhu vakawanda. Ndinoyoka kubva tichiri vana vadiki tiri kuchirasauta kuti kwaiuya vanhu vaibva nzvimbo dzakasiyana-siyana vachibetserwa, kwete isusu chete, vambva vapinda chii munzvimbo nyika dzakasiyana-siyana. Patiri pano kune vari kuCanada, kune vari kuAustralia, kune vari kunana UK, all over outside Africa, vakabetserwa. So munhu anga aine zita guru, ane vanhu vakawanda vakabetsera. Pari zvino urongwa mamira wakana ndekuti izvo mudzidzisi vanga vari international person. Naizvozvo takamirira kuti izvo vamwe vana vari kunze kwenyika vauye, togara pasi toita urongwa hwachona manje. Asi toita urongwa tiziva kuti izvo hatisi urongwa hwebaba vemhuri chete, asi somebody anga ari international leader. So we'll have to consider the church members who are outside the country as well. So pari zvino asati ane definite plan yachona takamira zvakati.
We now take you to Masvingo, where farmers are raising alarm bells over a surge in stock theft, with rustlers using wire snares and deboning cattle on farms to evade detection. Now, the Masvingo Beef Producers Association says this trend is wreaking havoc on livestock production and farmers' livelihoods. And police report that in 2023, Masvingo saw a 4% increase in stock theft, and nearly 300 suspects were arrested in connection with deboning cases.
Rinotova guidance yokurapiwa kwemombe, rinotaura nezvemachengeterwo emombe nenhamba dzadzo, asi rinogara richichekewa neveterinary. Ndiri kutaura vanhu vari kuma-commercial farms nema-A2s ehurumende aya, vokuti vavaone ng'ombe dzakati kuti hadzichadhibhiwo paruzhinji. Iri bhuku rinobetsera pakuti ndo record yomai munayo. Kwaregistrar unozondobuda une chinhu chakaita sechichichi, ndo certificate ichi. Then certificate iyi inozokubetserai kuti ndo yomogadzirisa pasimbi yadzobhurandiwa. Kana dzichinge dzabiwa, hazvinetsi kuidentifya mombe dzenyu, munondo-identifya nomuchiso. Hongondoziva kuti kuno muchiso wedhipi, asi hazvina kukwana. Ende ndotenda hurumende kuti yakabvumira kuti newo kuruzevha avo akwanise kuaplya brandi yake agozopisa mombe dzake.
A look at our global updates now, and we start with what happened in Ghana. African dignitaries gathered in Accra for the Pan-African Progressive Forces Conference as delegates called for unity and sovereignty. The Pan-African Congress aims to redefine Pan-Africanism in a changing world by strengthening institutions like the African Union, promoting Pan-African education and media, and also advocating for local resource ownership and climate-conscious development, and collaborating with the Global South to support a multipolar world order.
Ghana has always been the heartbeat of the Pan-African agenda, and under our renewed leadership, we continue to uphold the principles that guided Nkrumah and his contemporaries. Our vision for a reset Ghana is inseparable from the vision of a reset Africa, an Africa that owns its own development, mobilizes its resources, and believes in its collective strength. We're deepening our commitment to running an economy that creates opportunities for all our people, a fair and transparent governance system that respects the rights and dignity of labor, a global Africa that negotiates from a position of strategic unity, a regional integration that brings us closer through trade, infrastructure, and innovation, and peace and security across all our borders, because instability anywhere in Africa affects us all.
Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima called on African governments to adopt customs reform and digital trade systems to accelerate market integration under the African Continental Free Trade Area. Now, Shettima stressed that deeper coordination between African states is necessary to reduce long-standing barriers to efficient trade across the continent.
This coordinated, integrated institutional approach is essential for successful continental integration. For no single agency can deliver the scale of reform required for Africa's prosperity. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, central to Nigeria's continental trade strategy is the national single window, a transformative digital platform whose phase 1 goes live in March 2026 with full rollout by December 2026. It will allow businesses to submit import and export information once through a unified portal.
12 historical artifacts have been formally returned to Ethiopia after being kept by a German family for more than 100 years. And the artifacts, originally collected in the 1920s by Germany's then envoy to Ethiopia, were handed over to the Institute of Ethiopian Studies at Addis Ababa University. And the collection included crowns, shields, and paintings, all considered culturally and historically significant in Ethiopia. Now, the pieces would soon be opened to the public for research and academic study. And that's a milestone in safeguarding Ethiopia's cultural heritage. Now, in other global stories, Russia's Rosatom State Corporation has installed the reactor vessel for the first power unit at the El Adaba nuclear power plant in Egypt. The nuclear power plant will include 4 power units with Russian reactors, making Egypt the first country in the region to have Generation 3+ technology. And Russian President Vladimir Putin said that the construction of El Adaba nuclear power plant will generate electricity in the near future.
Уважаемый господин президент, дорогие друзья, сердечно приветствую всех участников торжественной церемонии, посвященной установке в проектное положение корпуса реактора энергоблока номер 1 атомной электростанции Эль-Даба. Выступления коллег и показанные только что видеокадры наглядно свидетельствует о том, что возведение при российском участии первой в Египте АЭС продвигается успешно. По сути, мы переходим на ключевой этап технологического оснащения станции.
Now, a Chinese envoy to the United Nations has called on the international community to help West Africa and the Sahel region enhance their independent counter-terrorism capabilities, build joint security defenses, and also promote sustainable development.
长期以来，中方通过中非合作论坛、中国联合国和平与发展基金，支持西非和萨赫勒地区国家加强能力建设，开展反恐行动，深受地区国家欢迎。中方将以全球安全倡议、全球治理倡议为指引，同国际社会共同努力，推动加强西非和萨赫勒地区的反恐合作，为维护这一地区和整个非洲的和平与安全做出更大贡献。
Stay tuned to News Plus for some business updates.
Vanoda valisi ziitai aye. Varimi vese itai aye. Vanoda go itai aye. Simuza go rako. Kurumiza. Nokona kungoti oyo. Valisi zipada moyo. Manya wana maina na baba. Kurumiza. Mbeu kwayo riku valisisi. Airowe nezvivukuto kana tsikitsi kana zvirwere ende nokupa harvest. Apa ndiri kurevesa very honest. Nevalisi itai aye. Varimi vese itai aye.
Mwaka uno tenga mbeu yako ku Valley Seeds usimudze goho rako. Valley Seeds vauchikive mbeu yechibage yepana nePioneer, Goros ma-traditional grains nema-vegetable seeds ose anopa goho repamsorosoro. Valley Seeds, where farming meets the farmer.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play.
The one story where you can't get out of your head. Wakatarisa munhu so Erika like where you are sitting. Ndozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako iyo Afro chakuti ndo music manje yemuZimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so Shona kana kuti Chindevere kana mumwe mutauri muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe. Ndiwo rupawo rwako. Ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get...
Vodacom Group is in talks with Kenya about potentially acquiring part of the government's stake in Safaricom Limited. The Johannesburg-based company already owns 39.93% of East Africa's largest listed company and is considering increasing its stake in the business with its UK parent Vodafone in 2017. Safaricom, which is Kenya's biggest wireless carrier with close to two-thirds of the country's subscribers, is valued at 157 billion rand. Still on our business news, the world's 20 largest economies will grow by just 2.9% in 2030 amid headwinds from protectionism and policy, and has said. Now, in a report to the Group of 20, the global lender mapped out a series of challenges facing the global economy, including widening excessive balances and stretched public coffers, as well as aging populations in advanced economies. The G20's advanced economies, the United States, Britain, Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and South Korea, were forecast to see economic growth of worst-performing Chinese technology stock in just a few short months, and a quick comeback looks challenging amid headwinds in the smartphone and electric vehicle markets. Doubts over the company have become amplified with results due later next week that are expected to show its slowest revenue growth since 2023. And rising memory chip prices are expected to cut into Xiaomi's margins on smartphones, and price hikes are difficult amid sluggishness to meet orders. Those were your business updates this evening. Stand by for entertainment news.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt. Didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Various lived experiences in communities. That's life, love, and faith as he continues his career. Now, in an exclusive interview with ZTN, he shared his focus on hope and universal themes in his music.
I want that to be realness around life, love, and faith. So our life experiences, every occasion, I want to have a in pursuit of God or what I feel or how I feel at the moment or at any, given point in time. And then, just love, falling in love, falling out of love, working stuff out, trying to improve relationships or things that happen that go wrong in relationships. So life, love, faith.
Now, veteran musician and lecturer Jonah Moyo says resilience has made him a household name after giving Sungura artists the limelight. The retired Great Zimbabwe University music lecturer told Zim Paper's Arts and Entertainment Hub that he was the first artist to record a Sungura track in 1979 when it was deemed rubbish and unconsumable. And the Solona Mutsai hitmaker, who has been in the industry for the past 50 years now, firmly believes he has many untold stories that contributed to the rise of Sungura. He also emphasized that respecting family will always remain priceless. Still on entertainment, Shanghai Disney Resort and Walt Disney China have celebrated the release of Zootopia 2 at the world's only themed parkland modeled after the popular children's animated film. The Zootopia 2 creative team showed fans and industry partners how characters and design elements from the sequel were integrated into Shanghai Disney Resort's Zootopia themed land.
So even more inspiring is that while staying true to the style of Zootopia, the new theme land also features distinct local cultural influences. These elements help us tell instantly recognizable stories and have deeply resonated with our guests and fans here in China.
Chevrons beat Sri Lanka by 67 runs. That story right ahead.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. All right.
Put your seatbelt on.
Zimbabwe beat Sri Lanka by 67 runs to record their first win of the ongoing T20 International Tri-Series in Rawalpindi, Pakistan. After losing the opener to host Pakistan on Monday, the Chevrons bounced back in style, comfortably beating Sri Lanka to end a 4-match winless run in T20s. And batting first, the Chevrons posted 162 for 8 in 20 overs. For the second straight match, Brian Bennett fell 1 run short of a half-century, top scoring with 49, while captain Sikandar Raza contributed with 47. Brad Evans then led the way with the ball with figures of 3 for 9, while Richard Ngarava contributed with 2 for 15, as Sri Lanka were bowled out for 95. Still on our sports updates, after guiding the Warriors to their first win in over 13 months, Marian Marinica is delighted by how he has started his tenure with the side. Despite receiving criticism after the 2-1 loss to Algeria, Marinica says he was impressed by how the side performed in their 2 encounters despite having limited time to prepare.
Well, I'm very happy, sometimes people are very easy to criticize, very jumpy to anything to take on board. It's a bit of toxic sometimes because of this new media and everything is kind of become accustomed. But if you're to look realistically, second half with Algeria, which actually was a very, very good side. I think we're proud of ourselves, how well did we play. And now, in the space of 3 days, also to play against, very, very strong team that actually are champion of Asia. They are in front of Japan, they're in front of South Korea, Iran, and so many other countries. So obviously for us to do so well, in particular also again, second half to play so well, it was fantastic. And remember, we haven't had a chance to work on fitness, we haven't had a chance to work on other things. So I think it's very promising. Obviously, that's the reason I'm here, to try to change things. And I think after, obviously, it's a bit slow start, but they come up with flying colors.
And with only less than a month left before the AFCON finals slated for Morocco in December, Marinika hopes to have 2 training camps where he'll get a chance to assess players before the continental showpiece.
We had in plan to start 2 camps in 24 to 28 for some logistical reasons, but also you know that normally you have to give to the players some time, and also to the club normally you have to give them, I think, 7 days. So I think we don't have now, because everything got a little bit, we arrived late and everything. So I think more realistic will be the camp on 1st to 5th, which actually going to be for local players. And after that, we'll be looking to probably have another camp. We haven't decided, we are still discussing to see where that camp may be. And actually going to be a mixture of local player and foreign players to have a squad of 30 players. And from that, we're going to, by 10 of January, we're going to look to have, 10 of December, we'll look to cut to 23 plus 7 reserves that actually will be allowed by CAF regulations.
Now this weekend, Dynamos will face FC Platinum in the penultimate round of the 2025 PSL season with little margin for error. The Harare Giants need maximum points to secure their survival, but face an equally FC Platinum side that is winless in their last 5 games. Emmanuel Jalai called on his teammates to remain focused as they play in a must-win encounter that will determine their future.
Yeah, we just need to take the game as it comes, because this game is all about, I think we have to get a point. But we are not going to play for a point. We have to do our best to get the maximum points. But so it's all about the mindset. We have to psych our guys so that we take this game in a positive way. They just have to come in their numbers to support us, and we are promising to do our best, and we are promising to get our maximum points on Sunday.
Now the side goes into this encounter with a spring in their step as they are unbeaten in the 13 games under the new technical team, and July hopes they will continue with their top performances.
First thing first, we are focusing on ourselves. We are not worried about what is going to happen on other teams. We just have to do our best to get a positive result and see how it goes at the end of the day. Yeah, we just have to do our best. It's the last game of the season. Like I said, we'll do our best and we'll focus on ourselves and see how it goes at the end of the day.
Now all is set for the 2025 Mashonaland East Walkathon, which is going to be held in Marondera. More than 7,000 trees are going to be planted at government institutions, including 12 schools. And organizer Pauline Mujanja says the event, themed Rooted in Action from Footsteps to Forest, targets youths, teaching them the importance of caring for the environment. The 25-kilometer walk commences at Wadilav School to Mahusekwa District Hospital. More from Mashudu Mambo.
All is set for 2025 Friends of the Environment Walkathon to be held on the 28th of November in Marondera. We are excited to note that this year's walkathon has been oversubscribed. Initially, we were targeting 800 walkers, and currently we have surpassed 210 walkers, and more walkers are still flocking in. During the walk, we are targeting to plant 7,000 trees at government institutions, including 12 schools and other targeted households, dotted along the way under the theme Rooted in Action from Footsteps to Forest. Our main aim is to prepare our young generations to become future environmental stewards.
That was Pauline Mujanja just letting us know what to expect at the event. Now, the National Athletics Association of Zimbabwe has recognized outstanding athletes at all levels, along with coaches, administrators, and technical officials for their contributions to the sport. Provinces excelling in athlete development, participation, and performance were also honored, highlighting the value of strong grassroots structures in advancing athletics nationwide. Takunda Mtizo walked away as the best male youth athlete of the year after his heroics at the African Junior Championships, where he won gold in the under-18 triple jump.
I feel happy that I've won this award and that all my hard work is now paying off and that I'm being recognized for the hard work that I'm putting in. I think I did finish my year with the highest thing that I was hoping for. So maybe I could have done better on the distance that I jumped because it's still not enough for world under 20s. But I'm still very happy with what I did and I'm building momentum. It's only one way up from here.
After guiding a number of athletes to the podium this year, McGregor Manua walked away as the coach of the year, and he gave credit to his athletes who gave their all during the challenging year.
Yes, it was a year and a half. It wasn't a cheap year. There are many things that happen in the background. There are many injuries that happen in the background. Just like a kid who's growing up, there are nappies and a number of things that we go through as coaches. I've got this way to say, especially for those people that like coaching. Well, it's not a good job, if I could say. It's a tough one because you must go all heart. Your heart must be out for it. You must be behind, making sure that everything comes on point. A lot of short stories within the story, but at the end, we know we do achieve. If I feel happy, I feel proud of myself, and indeed, it's something that's going to give me energy going back again to the starting block and then try to produce as many athletes as possible, not for the sake of anything else, but for passion itself.
And that's a wrap on News Plus this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Wadzanai Sansole. Have a good night.